enough jobs.
Which legal migrants do you want to see gone?
Illegal migrants.
I said which legal migrants?
I didn't say I want to see legal migrants gone, but people leave the country all the time. I said we don't always need to replace everybody that leaves. As Patrick says, plenty of them are unemployed, and we don't need to be filling up the country with more unemployed people. What we need is for the country to recover from the mass immigration experiment that the last successive 30 years of governments have done and actually catch up. We're talking about building houses and homes and hospitals equivalent to 9 times of Manchester, Birmingham. This is insane. We cannot continue. We need a break.
What's your reaction, Jonathan, to those population growth predictions there?
I think that they look completely normal. And, you know, what was really...
Where does it end?
We're speechless, completely normal. No, they're not. It is too much to cope with.
It's your opinion, Esther. I think it's...
I'd say most of the public.
Well, I mean, I'm not expecting to find a lot of fans on this channel, for sure, but and that doesn't mean that my position is not entirely right. And that
it's not.
You have... well, the thing that was most striking to me is that you have basically a 0-0 deaths and births. And actually, you might find you have a falling birth rate. And you have countries like, you mentioned Japan. I'm not entirely sure what you meant by that comment, by the way, about people looking visibly non-Japanese. I don't know what it means to look visibly British, but we'll part that to one side. But countries like Japan, they have a stagnant economy, and they actually need immigration, and a lot of countries need immigration. And, you know, you can make very valid arguments in this country about needing to train people to be doctors and to sort of man our public services. I completely get that. But it's not either or. We need immigration.
Let's talk about economy for a second, because we never talk about GDP per capita. We always talk about GDP. GDP per capita is down. People are as poor or as wealthy as they were, in 2007? Is that the kind of country we want? Do you want to see that continue to go?
Policy.
No, it's not just. No. It's per capita. We are poorer per capita. It's not just the economy has grown since then, but people in general can't get jobs. They can't get homes. We're having less children because we can't have the sustainable households.
People aren't building. The governments haven't been building homes.
But you're not going to build enough anyway to say this is what you're calling normal.
The other point, Patrick, is that you're making was that it seemed to be presupposing that you'd only have one migrant per house. And actually, one of the reasons that legal migration figures are so high, and have been so high under your government, Esther, is that you have people bringing their dependents. And the last government stopped that. And now we have an even bigger crisis in the care sector, for example, because people aren't coming at all, because they're not allowed to bring their dependents anymore.
To be fair, what Rishi did there, stopping particularly student dependents...
We're seeing universities having to ditch staff because they can't support themselves anymore.
But they should never have been selling migration.
Universities are one of the biggest sector in the country.
No, well, it shouldn't be, because it was like a giant Ponzi scheme. It was selling migration rather than education, and that's what they were selling to this country. So actually, Rishi was right, and that, which would have stopped in January, you'll see those figures come down straight away. But separating out what we do with legal migration, what we're interested, and then illegal migration is where they should be. And I agree with Rupert Lowe, who would have said, detainment and then deport. But what the Conservative brought in was the Rwanda scheme, because you've got to send them to a third country. Both Labour and Reform didn't want the third country. That is the solution.
I mean, we also could do what Donald Trump is doing and say, hey, by the way, if you don't take them back, we're going to put tariffs on you. We're going to revoke visas. Was it Douglas Carswell? Douglas Carswell suggested, and it was a great suggestion, said if the Pakistani government don't want to take back Pakistani illegal immigrants and foreign criminals, then let's revoke visas.
Jonathan, just on the birth rate, do you not think that maybe people aren't having kids because people are getting into their mid-30s and they haven't got anywhere to live, they can't afford a house, they feel as though their wages are being artificially driven down?
And there's no childcare. Life is rubbish for people, absolutely. And whose fault is that? So is it the government that's been in office for 6 months, or is it the government that was in office for 14 years before that?
So do you think 5 million more people is going to make that better or worse, Jonathan?
I think that it really depends on who those people are, and
let's have a look at
what the economy is looking like generally. Look, Patrick, I presume you are greatly in support of Brexit, which means that the government is now completely in charge of who can come into this country.
Yeah, and
the governments can put all kind and have sort of set up a point scheme, and they say we need these particular skills, and we actually have a lot of sectors that desperately need people to come from all parts of the world. People are not coming here. Legal migrants are not coming here to be economically inactive. That's not how it works.
No, you
cannot have stat about 40% of people in some communities are
people who are coming here are not coming here to be able to fend off the state.
So I don't agree with that at all. You can't say, oh, we don't want to do those jobs and we'll ship people in from other sides of the world. It's brain drain for them. It's completely wrong. We have to do those jobs. You can't pick and choose. We all need to get our shoulder to the wheel.
I said that people need to be doing jobs as well. It's not either or.
The biggest issue, and I guess the biggest expenditure for everybody, is a house and is a mortgage. And when millions more people are coming in every day and it's a supply and demand situation, and the demand is much bigger than the supply cannot go above a certain amount, and that's why you need immigration figures going down.
On top of that, Esther, we just saw the Labour government killed the Tories' plan to have British citizens put first at the front of the queue for social housing, which is exactly...
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alex.
Angela Rayner killed that policy.
This is not non-British people. The figure that you were quoting earlier, about 76%, that is simply people who are not born here. That's people who became British citizens maybe 25 years ago. Boris Johnson...
No, that's not what I was talking about. Jonathan, that wasn't what I was discussing. Jonathan, I was saying there was a policy that Rishi Sunak's government wanted to bring in which would have put British citizens at the top of the social housing ladder because they are paid into the system and deserve it, and illegals or foreigners at the bottom, which is where it should be, right?
Well,
Angela Rayner killed that.
Just quickly on this, because I'd like